Well, welcome back to Gavin Sonex B. I've managed to get out in the garage again a few times, and so I've done a little bit of work. I can't remember exactly where I left off last time, but basically what I've been doing is I haven't got a clue. I don't know. I'm going to have to go and watch the other video. Okay, so I've been and watched the last video. Now I remember. Okay, we'll start again. So I have been busy. There's a couple of things that I've done. Firstly, let me turn the camera around. I was not happy with the bolts that I'd put in for the engine frame at the top. The bottom ones fitted perfectly and got a little bit of thread sticking out of the nuts, but the top ones, actually the bolt ended up being flush with the end of the nut, and although it was probably enough, I had to buy some slightly longer bolts just so that there are a couple of threads sticking out, and it just made me feel better. It probably hasn't made any difference to the structural integrity of the aircraft, but I'm happy and I'm the one who's going to fly it, so that's a good thing. I put in the bolts to hold the top longeron onto the rest of the framework, and also the windscreen surround. That was probably the most fiddly job I think I've ever done in my life, trying to get my fingers in through here to get access to the bolts, which are up in there somewhere. There we go. Was not easy, and I did swear quite a lot whilst I was doing it. I dropped a lot of washers and nuts down inside and had to get a magnet and retrieve them all. And what else have I done? I have finally riveted the top longerons onto the forward fuselage and the windscreen surround. So the windscreen surround is now fixed in place, and the top longerons are fixed in place. Remembering, of course, not to rivet where I have to remove that vertical bar. You can see the one on the other side, to put in the wing root tunnel when I fit the wings, which hopefully will not be long. Good news! I finally heard from the Mayor of Jonzac, and I have written permission to put the aircraft in the hangar, and yes, he's not going to charge me to keep it there either, which is very, very good news. Anyway, so what am I going to do today? Today I am mostly going to get the windscreen and put the windscreen very carefully into the windscreen surround, and then hopefully bolt it all together. Got the windscreen bow to put in as well. So I will busy away and start to do that. It's going to be a pain in the arse because all around the windscreen, every single one of those holes is going to have a little bolt, and on the inside a washer and a nut, I think. And getting my hand in there to do this is going to be difficult. Bearing in mind I can't put my hand in through here because the windscreen will be in the way. I can only gain access through here and through the cockpit. So I imagine that there will be more swear words uttered in the next 24 hours or so. More later. So, having previously cut the holes for the air vents in each side, and I stripped back the covering on the outside up to the edge of the windscreen surround, so that's not going to get sandwiched in there. And I've also taken off the protective cover off the internal side because I decided that that was going to be very difficult to get off once it was in place. So at the moment I've just got the windscreen into the windscreen surround. Next I need to put the, I can't remember what that bit's called, but it goes on the inside of the windscreen for the canopy to sit against. And then the windscreen bow needs to go in there as well. So I'll do that in a minute. But so far, so good. Not looking too bad. It's gone back roughly in the same position. All the holes line up, which is a bonus. I'll have a go at putting the other bits in and then we'll take it from there. Well, I was right. Yesterday afternoon, late afternoon and evening, I spent putting the windscreen in and attaching the windscreen bow. And yes, I did utter some expletives as it didn't go to my original plan. I had a bit of an issue with the alignment of the holes in the windscreen bow, the threaded holes, and the windshield itself, and the surround. Everything seemed to be okay. I clear-coated all together and everything seemed to be great until I tried to put the screws in round the bow, and it became evident on the first one that getting those screws absolutely straight into the threaded holes was an issue. If they're just a tiny bit out, they cross thread, and the first one I put in cross threaded. I persisted to try and do it up and wrung the bolt off, and then it took me about an hour to take it to bits and get the offending bolt out of the hole without wrecking the entire thing, re-tapping the hole and coming up with a new solution. So the solution was, here are the bolts all in, and you should be able to see somewhere bits of thread sticking through. There's one there where they've come through, and basically what I had to do was increase the diameter of the holes in the windscreen surround and the windscreen itself, and this bit, which its name escapes me, to allow a little bit more flexibility on the lining up of the bolts. I only took it up one size, so originally it was, where are we? I think it was supposed to be drilled out to 9/64, and I actually took it up to 5/32, which is only a tiny little bit extra. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but it gave the flexibility to be able to line the bolts up. Also, I ran the tap down through each hole first, and then put the screw in, and that worked fine. And they all went in, and no problems, no more jamming, cross-threading or anything like that. They did up tight, didn't manage to strip any, didn't ring any more off, which is a bit of a problem that I have in general with bolts, small bolts. Do tend to get a bit overexcited doing them up, and have been known to ring quite a few off. But anyway, so it's in place. I peeled off the protection from the inside of the windscreen before putting it in, as I thought it's just going to be too difficult to get it off afterwards, and it shouldn't get damaged. So I've also bolted the bows down to the top longerons on both sides. And today's task is to put the 45 bolts and nuts, no washers, on to hold the windscreen to the windscreen surround. And that's what I'm going to busy off and do now, which is probably going to be a complete nightmare of a job, I would think. But anyway, we'll see more later. So there we are, one side done, and it was a bit easier than I anticipated. I managed to get my arm down there. It's all gone in nicely, and in particular I'm very pleased with the fit round the front edge. So I'm going to go and have a cup of tea now, and then I'm going to do the other side. Well, there we go. The windshield, windscreen, whatever you want to call it, is bolted in. There are actually 47 bolts around the windscreen, not 45 as on the drawings. And it's all gone back together. I've just put the top part of the firewall back in just to make sure that it still fits, and it's looking good. I'm quite pleased with it. It's not bad at all. There we go. So, on to the next bit.